Hello everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining the webinar today. My name is Sharon Chard, manager of the MLS of Greater Cincinnati. Today we are going to cover private selling officers and touch on auctions in general. If you are not familiar with the foreclosure and the foreclosure process, this may not be a good starting point for you, but you will still gain valuable information. For those that are familiar with foreclosures and the process, have you ever felt that the sheriff's auction process was less than ideal? It certainly is not easy for agents to represent clients in the sheriff's sale process, and therefore missing out on potential income from the properties your clients might want. This is all changing. During this webinar, we will discuss why this is significant, who is impacted with these changes, why the CincyMLS is involved, and provide an overview of how the process has changed and how this change has increased your earning potential on mortgage foreclosure properties. Almost 2 years ago, the Ohio law was modified to provide an alternate process to traditional sheriff's sale that is much more realtor-friendly. It involves the court appointing a private selling officer, also known as a PSO, to sell a mortgage foreclosure property instead of using the traditional courthouse sheriff's sale. The PSO, in simple terms, becomes the authorized seller and listing agent of a mortgage foreclosure. If you are not interested in being an actual PSO on the listing side, this information is still extremely relevant for representing any buyer. Learning this process will assist you in finding the properties and appropriately representing your buyers in these transactions. Here's a brief summary of PSOs. Why now? Because the law changed and provided a great opportunity for realtors to earn additional income. What is it? Instead of a physical meeting at the courthouse, properties may be listed in the MLS by a PSO with very specific rules and processes. It will be similar to online bidding, however, it is much more structured. Who does it impact? Sheriff's office, agents, buyers, sellers, lenders, neighborhoods, recorder's office, and PSOs. How does it impact all these sectors? Lenders get higher prices for the foreclosure property because of the availability to more buyers. The sheriff's office gets rid of a huge process, freeing them up for more critical duties. Agents have the opportunity to make money on the listing and sale side of the transaction. The process reduces the amount of time a property is in the foreclosure process, reducing blight in the neighborhoods. And buyers have an opportunity to procure these properties when they would not have known about them in the past. Why is the MLS involved? It is a great opportunity for all sectors in the real estate industry. We are either evolving with change and progress or staying stagnant and not capturing opportunities for our members. In order to accommodate this process, we had to make modifications and update our rules and regulations. So let's get into the details. What is required to be a private selling officer? 1. You must be an Ohio resident. 2. You must be a licensed auctioneer under Chapter 4707 of the Ohio Revised Code. 3. You must be a licensed real estate broker or salesperson under Chapter 4735 of the Ohio Revised Code. And 4. You must be eligible under Section 2329.152 of the Ohio Revised Code to sell foreclosed properties by appointment of the court. If you want to become a PSO, it is my understanding that the Ohio Revised Code and a great attorney will be your new best friends, so choose wisely. Meeting the eligibility requirements of a PSO is just the first step. Next, you need the court to select you as the PSO for a property. And how does that happen? About the same way you get selected to list anyone's property. I am not a PSO and I have no first-hand experience, but what I have learned while going through this exercise is it will be very similar to getting started in any niche market. You will start at the bottom and work your way up. The court and lenders are probably your best resource. On to the next requirement. You need a bidding website so potential buyers can bid on the property. In addition, if you want to enter the property in the CincyMLS, the website must have the ability for buyer agents to register their buyers on the website. Once you are selected as a PSO for a property, you must submit a copy of your real estate and auctioneer license to the court. Sometimes you will need to sign an affidavit stating you meet all requirements. Checks and balances are pretty simple. Any falsification is perjury and mishaps are accountable to a judge. So let's fast forward. You have a fully functioning website, you are assigned as a PSO for a property, and now you want to enter it into the MLS. We have made modifications to the MLS to not only accommodate PSO sales, but we took this opportunity to improve the auction capability in the CincyMLS. We have added relevant fields for any type of auction and online bidding. We also revamped the rules and regulations auction section so it makes much more sense. We will not go over those here, but they are available in the rules and regs. The highlights for MLS entry. Limited service will equal yes. Property ownership will equal PSO. You must submit a copy of the court order along with the new listing validation form to the MLS, and you must enter the appropriate verbiage in the marketing remarks. If the property is not occupied or vacant, it should be available for normal showings, and/or the PSO must host an open house that has been advertised at least 5 days in advance of the open house. The ability to see these properties is yet another advantage over traditional sheriff's sale. If the property is occupied, you must enter this information in the marketing remarks. Adjustments were made to the MLS rules and regulations to allow PSO properties to be exempt from the current showing policy, which states a listing must be available for showings if it is active in the MLS. Only PSO properties are exempt from this rule. Once you have established the auction dates, the property must be available on your bidding website for the duration of the auction. Agents must have the ability to register their buyers on the auction site, and you are agreeing to cooperate with the registrants. You must also list any required buyer fees involved in the auction. There are also requirements for the buyer's agent. If you follow these 5 bullet points, there should be no issues. 1. You must register your buyer client for each property and what your client wants to bid prior to them placing a bid for that property to qualify for compensation. 2. You must have an agency disclosure for that client and property and submit it to the listing agent at the time you register your client. 3. Read any and all instructions included with the listing. This information will answer many questions you may have. 4. Do not bid on behalf of your client for liability purposes. And 5, last but not least, reread numbers 1 and 4 for good measure. Once entered in the MLS, these properties will be distributed to other websites in which the PSO has designated. Examples would be broker websites, syndication portals such as Zillow and Realtor.com. Only these fields will be distributed to the other websites. These fields will not be distributed to the other websites. Auction location, start date, and start time. Why not? This will encourage the buyers to contact their agents to get the information. This will help keep you in the transaction and allow you the opportunity to get them registered before they bid online. The benefits of this new process may be summed up with these 3 words: exposure, accessibility, and competition. In summary, in order to qualify as a PSO, you must be an Ohio resident, a licensed auctioneer, and a licensed real estate broker or salesperson. You must present a copy of your real estate license and auctioneer license to the court if selected as a PSO. Your website must have the capability to process online bidding and buyer registration. Occupied homes must have this specific verbiage in the marketing remarks, and unoccupied homes must be available for showings at a minimum and open house advertised in advance. When entering in the MLS, limited service equals yes, auction equals yes, and ownership equals PSO. You must become familiar with Ohio Revised Code 2329.152 and the CincyMLS rules and regulations. Where can I get more information on how to become and operate as a PSO? I can tell you where you cannot get the information, and that is not at the MLS. You will need to study the Ohio Revised Code and obtain a good attorney. The MLS's involvement is strictly providing the resources to enter the listing into the MLS. Any details on how to start and run your PSO business is way beyond the MLS office. For all the agents representing buyers, this process just increased your earning potential, and you will probably do less work than most any other transaction, provided you pre-registered your client. That concludes our overview of the MLS modifications for private selling officer entries. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. If you are interested in attending a live Q&A session in the near future to address any questions you have pertaining to the MLS changes, please send an email to tharvey@CincyMLS.com to be included on the invitation list. This will not be a Q&A session on how to be a PSO, just the MLS portion of the process. Thanks again for your time, happy selling, and enjoy the rest of your day.